Disney really know how to suck the fun out of playgrounds. That being said, playground safety is obviously really important, and Mickey's Safety Club Playground Fun has some important messages in it. This is a very cheesy 1989 Disney film where we have the characters dressed up in the costumes, and it's called Mickey's Safety Club, but it's actually Huey, Dewey, and Louie who are on screen the most. And Mickey has asked them to make a film about playground safety, and we have these dressed up characters demonstrating how to have fun safely in the playground, how to use the apparatus, what to do if you find, for example, a broken glass bottle. The answer there being call for your grown-up who's come with you to the park to pick it up with something they can wrap it in. And yeah, some of it is a bit far-fetched. For example, they said make sure when you're swinging, use both your hands, don't hold on to anything when you're on the swings, which, yeah, is fair enough, but if you fall off of a swing, what's the worst that can happen? They're low down to the ground, as long as you're not, massively high in the air, but they weren't in this case. So certain things I feel like take away the element of getting hurt when you're outside, because obviously when you're in a playground, you're going to fall, you're going to graze your knees, you're going to get hurt in some way at some point as a young child who's free and rampaging around. And those moments of being hurt superficially actually help to instill a sense of precaution. So if you never get hurt, it's kind of like the whole if you never get dirty and have germs, you might not build up a strong immune system, which is why it's great to play in the mud when you're a child. So I feel like some of it's maybe very overcautious, but generally the message is clear. I mean, it taught people how to go down the slide, put your legs first, the amount of children who go down face first, and it's just part of being a child. So yeah, some of it's maybe a bit cautious, and this is 1989. I could understand it for today, where children, certain people make sure that nothing happens to their children when they're outdoors, and they don't let them get dirty, etc. Which, I mean, yeah, given the pandemic and things, that I can understand, but yeah, it's definitely overcautious, particularly so for 1989. But it's watching it now as an adult, it's corny, it's cheesy. It's not a very high budget production at all, but I have to say, the costumes, whoever are in the costumes, they had some pretty tricky stuff to do. I mean, fitting those big duck bums into those little swings and balancing properly, not bad. And one of the ducks ends up on the top of a climbing frame and manages to maneuver down backwards, and that mustn't have been easy. So actually, the acting is pretty impressive, given those those suits aren't going to be that comfortable. The voices aren't great. The voice of Daisy doesn't sound like Daisy. The ducks kind of sound like Huey, Dewey, and Louie, but not perfectly. But it's not so much of a big deal. There are some obviously important messages in here. Things like, if you see a broken bottle, for goodness sake, don't touch it. Get a grown-up. Really obviously important. But walk, don't run. You're in a playground. Like, for goodness sake, come on. Playgrounds are where children get to run around and be free and experience the freedom of being in an environment that's made just for them, where they're allowed to to have fun and be free. So this is not necessarily playground fun and more playground restrictive. Mickey's Safety Club kind of takes things a little bit to an extreme. Imagine telling a child not to run in a playground. It's just ludicrous. Some important messages, but I can imagine that this is going to go in one ear and out the other for most children, so it kind of feels a bit redundant. It almost feels like it's aimed more at parents, because there's an instruction that says when you first go to the park, look around and check everything's safe. What child is running into a park or walking into a park, stopping, and then inspecting all of the equipment before they use it? Like, no, Disney, this is not the real world. But obviously, if parents are watching it with them, it might make a parent kind of remember to just have a quick glance around and make sure there's nothing there that shouldn't be. But for children, it's just going to make them want to go to the playground because the ducks are having a great time. Yeah, definitely not the most realistic or indeed actionable film I've ever seen, but there are a few important messages in here.